For the interest of full disclosure, I never signed up for Ashley Madison. Okay.
Thought that might have gone differently.
So did I. It's kind of freaking.
I'm not sure about Peter Ogburn here.
Sure,
I can just,
we won't ask anyone to
I
comment
can just
on that.
speak for myself.
Thanks.
But this is a massive. I mean, we've heard about all the hacking with Target and and all the rest, right? Macy's and all the rest. But this was a massive breach of privacy. And how many people?
It depends on who you ask, but Ashley Madison had tens of millions of users, so we're talking about a lot of user data online.
And all of it, right, was revealed, or?
So what we're seeing is, there was a lot of personally identifiable information, including, names, email addresses, last 4 digits of a credit card number, even sexual interest. There was a lot of very incriminating data released, which I think is what makes this hack kind of unique. Everyone's nervous if their credit card information gets leaked from Target, but when it's being revealed that you're having an affair on your wife, all of a sudden people are starting to pay attention to data security.
Now, is this the Chinese being blamed for this as well?
I don't think there really has been a lot of attribution. I think a lot of people have sort of floated theories about it, maybe being an inside job, but I think it's pretty early to be speculating on anything like that.
But some of the people, I just saw the head of Ashley Madison was either fired or left.
Yeah, the CEO has stepped down of the parent company, which is Avid Life Media.
Okay. Why? I mean...
So, what I think is so interesting about this case is it kind of brings up this question, to what extent are companies responsible for these kinds of hacks? And, I think what we're finding is that increasingly, the government is holding these companies accountable. There was a court ruling recently that said the FTC can sue companies if they've been negligent with consumer data. And there's a big question here, to what extent Ashley Madison did protect data. Because, if you go on the website, not that I was on the website. It says.
I hope you were during your research.
Sure,
this
yeah,
is your
for
field.
work.
Right.
It says very clearly on the website, hey, we keep your data really secure. And they also had this kind of unique provision where if you wanted to be erased from the site, you had to pay them money to have your information fully
So once you
erased.
signed up, so you signed up for free?
Yes.
And then you pay the money to have your name taken off the website?
Yeah.
That's
and
a
so,
scam.
You can see that they ended up with a lot of information because maybe someone, I don't know how much it was, but maybe someone said, hey, I don't want to pay $10 to get my information off this website. So I think we've already seen some class action.
That is a scam.
What a scam.
So, all right. So what recourse do the people who had signed up for the site thinking their privacy was going to be protected, and now it's all out there? What recourse do they have?
Well, I mean, they can probably join one of these class action lawsuits if they're so inclined. But I think the bigger issue is once the data's out there, it's kind of too late. I mean, then at that point, you're just picking up the pieces. That's why the emphasis on data security is so important. Because, trying to find your data after it's on the internet is much more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think part of the issue here that's being sort of underreported is as much of a stigma as on this particular thing, what it can mean for other websites, right? Like even if it's just more vanilla dating websites where you put your personal interests and wants and desires, and they also take credit card numbers, or Netflix of things that you're watching and credit card numbers. I know that the Ashley Madison thing is morally not okay, but it's a bigger issue, I think, than just the creeps that were on this website,
Absolutely. I think this is I'm not so interested in this being a story about infidelity. It's much more interesting if you look at it as a story of data security.
Yeah, totally.
I talked to a former IT person at Ashley Madison who had sort of run IT there for a couple of years. And he was sort of, his position was like, look, I actually thought their data security was good. The reality is your information is just not going to be 100% protected wherever you are. So that's something, we maybe should think about as we're moving forward and putting anything online, anything personally identifiable.
Well, that's I think the basic question. Is there any such thing as data security online?
I mean, yes. I think I don't want to use this as an example of saying, no, we shouldn't even bother with encryption and things like that. All of those steps are very, very important, and companies should take them. I just am saying, as a as a personal user, I personally, I am very wary about what I put online and what I put into websites. I have tons of like fake identities.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
But I just think you have to operate on the premise today that there's no such thing as privacy.
I think as a private user, sure, yeah. I think that's a good position to be in, but I also think you should hold the companies you do business with to a high standard of data security.
Agreed, but I
Yeah.
just don't know to what extent they can deliver.
Sure.
So before we move on to some of the other cases, I'd also read that this was, in at least one article, a couple of articles, that this was an inside job. That hasn't been established?
I don't think anyone has officially done that attribution. Doing attributions for these kinds of hacks is always a very, very slippery business. So I'm reluctant to sort of say, yeah, we definitely know who it is so early in the game.
Okay. So we have all these, before Ashley Madison, all these American corporations which were hacked, right, and their customers' information released. But also government agencies, the White House, the Pentagon, kind of across the board.
Right.
A lot of them attributed to the Chinese. Has that been proven yet or established?
I think it's been established that China definitely has a very vibrant sort of hacking operation. But in terms of
targeting American corporations,
sure,
right?
yeah, no,
and I guess
think,
targeting American governments as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been following that as closely, but that sort of raises a bigger question. To what extent do we want the government to be responsible for enforcing data security when they're not able to enforce it themselves? I think there was a GAO report that said something like 17 out of 24 federal agencies had weak data security. That's a little bit troubling to me.
17 out of 24?
Yeah, I think that was the stat.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we're seeing that play out. I mean, we're seeing the data, the leaks coming all the time.